what is the best story to you about Poirot?
Oh, no, that's a tall order.
I know it was.
Agatha Christie wrote 66 detective stories and 14 short story collections before her death in 1976. The undisputed queen of crime, whose novels characterized the golden age of crime fiction, had an influence on almost every crime writer that she preceded. Although most famed for the tenacious Miss Marple and the fastidious Belgium detective Hercule Poirot, she wrote many novels focusing on a variety of characters. Here are 10 of the books that best represent Agatha Christie's ingenuity and ability that crown her as the crime queen of all time. Murder on the Orient Express.
This book has a fascinating, classic setting on a luxury train. Poirot is traveling back to London. The glamorous Orient Express stops during the night, blocked by snow drifts. Next morning, the mysterious Mr. Ratchet is found stabbed in his compartment. Poirot has to figure out which of the passengers in the first-class car is responsible. This is one of the great surprise endings in the genre. And then there were none.
10 people are invited to an island for the weekend. By the end of the very first night, however, they discover that they've all been lied to, that some of them have kept secrets from each other. At dinner, they are each accused of having a guilty secret, and by the end of the evening, one of them is dead. The murderer is still on the island, hidden in plain sight amongst them, and he won't stop until they're all dead. The Murder of Roger Ackroyd.
The tranquil English village of King's Abbot is shocked. First, widow Dorothy Ferrers dies from an overdose of veronal. 24 hours later, Roger Ackroyd, the man she had planned to marry, is murdered. It is a complex case involving blackmail, suicide, and violent death. A typical village murder mystery. Or so it seems, until the last chapter reveals one of the most startling conclusions of Hercule Poirot's career. The ABC Murders. When Alice Asher is murdered in Andover, Hercule Poirot is already looking into the clues. Alphabetically speaking, it's one letter down, 25 to go. Poirot is unable to prevent the murders of Alice, Betty Barnard and Carmichael Clark. Can he stop the ABC killer before he reaches D? There's a serial killer on the loose. His macabre calling card is to leave the ABC railway guide beside each victim's body, considered to be one of Agatha Christie's best.
The Mysterious Affair at Styles. This book is Christie's first novel and the introduction to her most popular detective, Hercule Poirot. The plot is set in England during World War I at Styles Court. When Emily Inglethorpe is poisoned and the authorities are perplexed, Poirot puts his prodigious scrutinizing skills to work. Suspects are plentiful, including the victim's younger husband, her resentful stepsons, her longtime hired companion, a young family friend working as a nurse, and a London specialist on poisons who just happens to be visiting the village. Prior to its publication in 1920, Styles was rejected by as many as half a dozen publishers in Great Britain. 5 Little Pigs. 16 years ago, Caroline Creel died in prison while serving a life sentence for poisoning her husband, a brilliant painter. Her daughter asks Poirot to investigate a possible miscarriage of justice, and he approaches the other 5 suspects. With his keen understanding of human psychology, Poirot manages to discover the surprising truth behind the artist's death. Crooked House. The Leonides are a wealthy family, living in a sprawling mansion in England known as Three Gables or the Crooked House. The Leonides have more than most could ask for thanks to the head of the household, Aristide. Things turn upside down when Aristide suddenly dies from a fatal barbiturate injection. Each family member has something to hide, and those truths must come to light before the murderer is revealed. The ending to Crooked House will leave you in shock. A murder is announced. The plot takes place at Little Paddocks in Chipping Cleghorn, where we are introduced to the residents, Letitia Blacklock and her niece and nephew Julia and Patrick Simmons, and Letitia's old friend Dora Bunner. The peace is abruptly shattered when Bunny discovers an announcement in the local paper, stating that a murder will take place at 6:30 p.m. the following day at Little Paddocks, though everyone but Bunny is quick to dismiss it as a joke. They are all gathered together inside Miss Blacklock's house when the clock strikes 6:30, the lights go out and shots are fired. When the lights are turned back on, a man is found dead on the floor. Miss Marple solves the mystery both through the usual methods of observing, deducting, and asking questions, and through her knowledge of small villages like Chipping Cleghorn and how they have changed through the years. Endless Night. Michael Roger, the main protagonist, a chauffeur by profession, dreams of a better life with his love in a magnificent house. A splendid property, the tower interests him, it's where he meets Ellie, a heiress, marrying whom makes his dream come to reality. But little did he know that the place is cursed and defying the endless warnings exact a higher price than he ever imagined. Michael Rogers is a man who is about to learn the true meaning of the old saying, "In my end is my beginning." According to the author herself, this is one of her favorites of all the books she has ever written. In Curtain, Christie locates Poirot's last case in the same setting as her first Poirot novel, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, published in 1920. Many years later, Styles has become a guest hotel, and Poirot is there on the trail of a serial killer, responsible for 5 earlier murders for which other people were suspected or arrested. Poirot's final case, a mystery which brings him and Hastings back to Styles where they first solved the crime together. Agatha Christie wrote it during World War II, as a gift for her daughter, and it was kept in a safe for over 30 years, published finally in 1975. Christie wrote dozens of other incredible books that didn't make it to the top 10 on that list, which are equally important in her extensive literary career.